Welcome to Santa Clarita Weekly, where we cover all things local in Santa Clarita Valley every Saturday morning at 9 on KQRU 107.9. Join hosts Tim Haddock and Sage Rafferty as they uncover the latest news, events, sports highlights, and more, keeping you connected and engaged with what matters most in our hometown.
Welcome back for another edition of Santa Clarita Weekly with Tim Haddock and Sage Rafferty. I'm Sage, he's Tim. You can listen to us on the radio at KQRU 107.9 FM on Saturday mornings at 9 o'clock. We're also in YouTube and Instagram, and you can find us online at santaclaritastar.com. So Assembly Speaker Robert Rivas and members of the Los Angeles Assembly delegation held a press conference to talk about what the Assembly is doing to respond to the devastation caused by the wildfires in LA County. In sports, the Valencia boys basketball team is in first place in the Foothill League, and three teams are tied for third place. The Valencia girls handed Hart its first Foothill League loss of the season and moved into first place in the standings. And in the NFL, the Rams lost to the Eagles in the second round of the NFL playoffs in a snowstorm in Philadelphia. So after a 1-4 start, the Rams were 13 yards away from playing in the NFC Championship game. The Kings are going through a rough patch, finishing a 5-game road trip with a loss to the Kraken in Seattle and losing to the Pittsburgh Penguins at home. So in a press conference on January 16th, California State Assembly Speaker Robert Rivas announced legislation to accelerate recovery efforts for Los Angeles County wildfire victims. The measures aim to expedite rebuilding by preventing new building standards unless required to address health and safety risks or add fire-resistant technology, and streamlining permit reviews and simplifying ADU construction in coastal zones. Additionally, the legislation seeks to keep displaced residents housed by extending tenant rights for those in temporary accommodations and prohibiting evictions of individuals sheltering fire victims. These actions follow Rivas's meetings with local officials and community visits, emphasizing the commitment to immediate aid and long-term disaster prevention. One piece of legislation authored by Assemblywoman Pilar Schiavo, who represents Santa Clarita, would accelerate the state permit review for reconstruction. This new law will require state agencies involved in permitting to follow the same guidelines, which will speed up building. Let's listen to Speaker Rivas.
Well, good morning, everybody. And we're here this morning to update you all on the urgent actions that the Assembly is taking to help Los Angeles recover and rebuild. And what's happened is it's a catastrophe, and a catastrophe at an unprecedented scale in California's history. Thousands of homes and businesses gone, more than 100,000 people displaced, too many precious lives lost, beloved neighborhoods, Altadena, Palisades, have been impacted almost beyond belief. And to Angelinos who are scared and angry right now, to those grieving the loss of their homes, their neighborhoods, their loved ones, we stand with you. And I personally pledge as Speaker of this Assembly that I will do everything in my power to get you the help, to get you the support and the resources that you need. In this unprecedented moment, Angelinos are showing their true colors. So many firefighters, emergency responders are working around the clock to protect this city. People are offering spare bedrooms and donating clothing and supplies. And our job in the State Assembly is to do everything in our power to help the people of this city who need it now. If we need to pass new legislation quickly, we will do it. If existing laws are throwing up roadblocks to relief, then we will work to remove those roadblocks. Oversight is also our job, making sure that the state response is actually working for Los Angeles, not wasting resources or time. Again, we're here today to update you on the Assembly's response so far. And with me are Assembly members who represent Los Angeles, whose districts have been impacted, as well as Assembly members from across our state. And collectively, the leaders here, we represent millions of Californians. And we're here because our entire state stands together with Los Angeles. And we will move quickly to approve some billions of dollars in funding to kickstart toxic debris removal. The legislature will also approve funding to begin rebuilding and repairing our schools. Families must be able to send their kids back to school immediately. And our focus is on making that happen. Our efforts will focus on housing. Why? Because this is the #1 issue we are hearing from Angelenos right now. How to find housing, how to stay in housing, how to rebuild housing. And look, let me be very clear. We absolutely have to reshape our state government so that we are better able to prevent disasters like this from happening again. Now, all options must be on the table. I know we're going to have more to say on this real soon, but right now, we want those affected by these fires to know that immediate help is on the way so that you can begin to recover and rebuild. This is a first step, and it's only the beginning. We will listen to local residents about what they need most. We're going to act with urgency to ensure that we deliver results.
So you're listening to KQRU 107.9 in Santa Clarita. You can listen to Santa Clarita Weekly on Saturday mornings at 9. Then YouTube, Instagram, maybe TikTok, maybe not, wherever you listen to podcasts. So I'm going to turn it over to Tim to talk about local sports. Tim?
Okay, so the Foothill League boys and girls basketball seasons are getting very interesting. The Valencia boys lead the Foothill League standings. They won 2 Foothill League games, and they have a slim lead in the Foothill League standings. The Valencia boys are 6-2 after beating Hart 74-53 and Saugus 55-51. The Valencia boys lost to La Cañada between the games with Hart and Saugus. Valencia plays Castaic in its next Foothill League game. The Golden Valley boys are keeping pace with Valencia. They beat Castaic 68-50, but lost to West Ranch 77-67. The loss to West Ranch dropped Golden Valley to 4-2 in the Foothill League, but the win against Castaic kept Golden Valley in second place in the Foothill League at 5-2. Golden Valley plays Hart in its next Foothill League game. The Saugus boys beat Canyon 65-57, but lost to Valencia and are in third place in the Foothill League. They also lost to Rancho Cucamonga 67-63. The Saugus boys are in a third-place tie with Canyon and West Ranch at 5-3 in the Foothill League. Saugus plays West Ranch in its next Foothill League game. The Canyon boys eked out a nail-biter against Hart 47-45. Sean Hernandez hit the game-winning shot for Canyon and scored 11 points in the game. Eric Kubel scored a game-high 16 points for Canyon. The Canyon boys followed the win over Hart with losses to Saugus and West Ranch. They lost to West Ranch by 1 point, 57-56. It dropped Canyon to 5-3 in the Foothill League. Canyon plays Oaks Christian before Golden Valley in the next Foothill League game. The West Ranch boys beat Castaic 89-68 and Canyon 57-56 to move into a third-place tie in the Foothill League. They lost to St. Francis 70-45 between the games against Castaic and Canyon. West Ranch plays Saugus in this next Foothill League game. The Hart boys lost the 2 Foothill League games to Canyon and Valencia, but won a game against Mesrubian 78-43. So Hart is in 6th place in the Foothill League and is 1-6. The Hart boys play Golden Valley in their next Foothill League game. And finally, the Castaic boys lost 2 Foothill League games to West Ranch and Golden Valley and are 0-8 in the Foothill League. They are in 7th place. Castaic plays Panorama before Valencia in its next Foothill League game. So on the girls' side, the Valencia girls have won 4 games in a row and seem to be on a roll. The Valencia girls handed Hart their first Foothill League loss of the season and moved into first place in the Foothill League standings. Valencia beat Hart 53-48 and improved to 7-1. Freshman Camila Basanova scored team-high 20 points for Valencia. Hart's Morgan Mack scored a game-high 24 points and made it interesting in the fourth quarter. She scored 12 points, half of her points, in the final period. Dropped to 6-1 in the Foothill League and into second place in the standings. Valencia followed the win over Hart by beating Saugus 35-31. The Valencia girls play Castaic in their next Foothill League game. The Hart girls lost to Valencia and then to Crescenta Valley 60. It was the first time the Hart girls lost a Foothill League game in 2 years. The last time they lost a league game was in the season finale in 2023. Hart plays Golden Valley in its next Foothill League game. The Canyon girls lost to Saugus but beat West Ranch and improved to 5-3 in the Foothill League. Canyon is in third place in the Foothill League. Canyon mixed in a win over Verdugo Hills 76-9 in between the games with Saugus and West Ranch. The Saugus girls beat Canyon, lost to Valencia, and are in fourth place in the Foothill League standings at 4-4. Saugus added a win over South Pasadena 51-32. The Saugus girls play West Ranch in their next Foothill League game. The West Ranch girls beat Castaic and lost to Canyon. They are 2-6 and in fifth place in the Foothill League. West Ranch plays Saugus in its next Foothill League game. The Golden Valley girls beat West Ranch 34-29 and won its first Foothill League game of the season. Krista Ezenwa scored 15 points, and Jaya Bryant added 11 for Golden Valley. Golden Valley is 1 and in sixth place in the Foothill League. The Golden Valley girls play Valencia in their next Foothill League game. The Castaic girls lost to West Ranch 36 and dropped to 1-6 in the Foothill League. They are in seventh place in the Foothill League standings and play Valencia in their next Foothill League game. And I'm going to turn it over to Sage to get us caught up on the Rams and their playoff run.
Yeah, so let's talk about the NFL. So, and by the way, there's a whole breakdown of the Rams versus Eagles by Tim Haddock on SantaClaritaStar.com. So you can go check that out. But the Rams nearly pulled off an upset in the NFL playoffs against the Eagles in Philadelphia, but ended a few yards short of playing in the NFC Championship game. The Rams drove down to the 13-yard line and were in position to score the winning touchdown, but ran out of time and downs and lost 28-22. The game was played in a blinding snowstorm a week after the Rams played in Arizona against the Minnesota Vikings. The game moved from SoFi Stadium because of the fires in Los Angeles. It was not a smooth road in the playoffs for the Rams, and still they almost found a way to advance. In the end, it was almost identical to the game the Rams and Eagles played earlier in the year. The Eagles won that game too. So the first game wasn't played in the snow, but it was a game Eagles running back Saquon Barkley did pretty much whatever he wanted. Barkley rushed for 255 yards in the first game. He rushed for 205 yards in the second game. He scored on 2 long runs in the first game. He scored on 2 long runs in the second game. In his second touchdown run against the Rams in the playoff game, gave the Eagles a 28-15 lead in the fourth quarter. And it was a 78-yard run, and it looked like a nail in the coffin for the Rams in the playoffs. The Rams weren't ready to roll over. So Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford led the Rams down the field and threw a touchdown pass that cut the lead to 6 points, 2022. The Rams defense gave Stafford and the offense the ball back with just under 2 minutes left in the game. Stafford drove the Rams down the field again all the way to the 13-yard line. The Rams stalled there, had 3 chances to score the game-tying touchdown, and turned the ball over on the downs to end the game. The Rams went from 1-4 to 13 yards from the NFC Championship game. Rams coach Sean McVay talked about how his team came so close to beating the Eagles.
Congratulations to the Eagles. Tough, hard-fought game, but I am, you give them credit. They made enough plays to be able to win the game, but, man, I'm damn proud to be associated with this football team. I didn't see it going any other way than us winning that game 29-28, and, I think this game in a lot of ways epitomized the resilience, the grit, the ability to overcome adversity. Just had a couple things that we couldn't overcome. And, there'll be some things that we can learn from, but, this is the time for gratitude, for appreciation. I love this group. I love this coaching staff. I love these players. And I also understand and appreciate how difficult it is to be in positions like this, where you've got the game, in hand. I felt like we had total control towards the latter part of that game. Momentum was in our favor. And we had an opportunity to be able to win that game, and we just came up short. And like I said, you give the Eagles credit. It's an excellent football team. They were able to make enough plays today, but love this group, and I'm just really sad that this journey is over. This was a special season. It's as much fun as I've had. as much as you've ever wanted to do right for the people in that locker room. We've had a lot of special teams, but this team, there was something really special about them, and I think I'm up here pretty shocked because I know a lot of people didn't believe we could come in here, but we had the full expectation to come in here, and I don't think anybody ever really expected the end of the season to be right now, and the finality of it is tough for me to swallow because of the love and appreciation that I have for this group. But like I said, you give Philly credit. They did their thing, made enough plays, and obviously Saquon was excellent today, and I think the 2 turnovers were really costly. But I'm not going to make any excuses, and I'm proud of our team.
So the Eagles play the Washington Commanders in the NFC Championship game. The winner will play in the Super Bowl in New Orleans. Tim, so I have a couple questions. So the Rams struggled to hold on to the ball in the snow. And how much did the weather ultimately impact the outcome of the game? And how could the Rams have better been prepared?
Well, to start off, Sean McVay, the coach Sean McVay, he's never one for making excuses for his team. If anything, he usually takes the blame when his team does something bad or makes a mistake during a game. But in this one, he had no problem saying that the weather was a factor, and the weather made it hard for the Rams to control the ball on offense. They couldn't pass it like they normally do. Matthew Stafford had a hard time completing passes in the snow. Two of the fumbles, the 2 fumbles that the Rams had that they lost. One was when Kyren Williams fumbled, and it was just a good play on the defense and knocked the ball out. But it's kind of been an issue with Kyren Williams for the last 2 seasons, is that he is a little fumble prone, and he has been known to cough up the football in crucial moments in games. So the weather made that even more challenging for him, and that turnover led to a field goal and added more points for the Eagles. The second turnover, the one that Matthew Stafford fumbled on, was another fumble that happened because of the weather. It was just cold and it's snowing, and Matthew Stafford, he couldn't control the ball, and he got hit, and the ball came out, and it was just another turnover that happened at a bad time during the game. So yeah, the weather was a factor, and I don't know how you can prepare for weather like that. The Eagles obviously are used to playing in cold weather more than the Rams are, because the Rams play most of their games in LA. Playing in the snow, playing in a storm that that was that severe, I don't think any team can prepare for it. The Eagles did a better job of controlling the ball and controlling the tempo of the game, because they're a little more used to it. But I don't think the Rams could have done anything different to prepare for that type of conditions, and that type of a game.
Okay, so despite this loss, the Rams really showed resilience with a late comeback attempt. What does this say about their mentality and potential for future success?
Well, the Rams are in a good position. They are a few players away from really being a Super Bowl team again. And I think even Sean McVay knows that. I think the front office knows that. They're probably one more draft away from adding just small parts. It's not like they need a whole lot of major change, game-changing players on this team. Matthew Stafford is still probably one of the elite quarterbacks in the league. They have 2 of the best receivers in the league. They have a very good running back, a very durable running back. And the defense got better every game, especially in the second half of the season. They have lots of young players on this team. They have lots of hungry players on this team, and they're just going to get better. So, they need just a few little pieces here and there, probably on defense. They need to probably get another linebacker, another defensive back to shore up the defense that was pretty good, down the stretch and in the playoffs. And maybe just add another receiver, not even a top receiver. They need a third receiver, a slot receiver, somebody who can 1 play, 2 plays a game for them. Maybe another tight end. Maybe they need to draft a better tight end and improve there. But just little things. So they're in a good position, and getting this deep in the playoffs with a team that not only was banged up, but, had a really, really slow start, that shows a lot about how determined, how focused this team is. So if they bring most of the players back, they have a good foundation to build on, they have a good quarterback, they have a good offense, and they have a good coach. So they're in a good spot. I think their potential for success is very high.
All right. So, Tim, I know I'm moving on to hockey right now, so I know that the LA Kings have been on the road. Can you talk about that?
Yeah. The Kings are not playing well right now, or they're not playing well on this road trip. They were on a 5-game road trip. 4 of the games were in Canada, and they ended up in Seattle for the last game of the road trip. They went 2-3 on that 5-game road trip and ended with a loss to the Kraken. Adrian Kempe scored his 22nd goal of the season, but it was a 4-2 loss to the Kraken. It didn't get much better for the Kings when they returned home to Crypto.com Arena. The Kings lost to the Pittsburgh Penguins 5-1. That was another blowout. It was just a bad game all around when they got back home. But Kempe scored the lone goal for the Kings against the Penguins, and he leads the team with 23 goals. He's been one of the few bright spots for the Kings in recent games. Kings coach Jim Hiller talked about how the Kings are struggling these past few games.
That goal in the third goal is going to give a big boost to the bench, but when it comes from a guy like Sam Delaney, his first third goal, then it give you maybe a little bit extra juice.
Yeah, I thought we were going pretty good in the third. I mean, first I thought we played well. Second, they took it over. There's no question. And the third, before the goal, I thought we were going pretty good. But it's great to see, And I thought that line was pretty good all night, actually. I thought they had an impact. It was physical. They were competing. Big hits out there both ways. So Gino at the net, presence strong, and then Sammy picking up the loose change. There's few things that are better than seeing a guy score his first goal. It's a special moment. They work a lot, long and hard to get to the NHL. They get to score goals.
Maybe a testament to Sammy, his hard work, his character, how excited the rest of the guys in the net were. I mean, they almost seem as excited as he was to see that come down.
Yeah. Well, it's a little bit like, I don't think anybody expected Sammy to score his first NHL goal this season. You know what I mean? So it's kind of extra special that way. He had a great summer. Finished the season strong in Ontario last year, great playoffs, but no expectations for him to help us at all. So all those things combined, really, you're really happy for him.
Kevin goes up in the third with Kobe and Drew. Seemed to be a lot of offensive opportunities from those three, and obviously the goal. What did you like about what those three guys brought from the team?
Yeah, I mean, we get tied actually when Kevin went there, but we had talked about it in between periods. Actually, we were down 1. We talked about putting Kevin with those guys. I mean, we don't do that all the time, but it just felt like one of those nights was so hard to create. We wanted to put the three together and come out to face off. And we're already 30 some odd seconds into that shift, and I really thought about bringing them off. It was our best zone face-off guy. Gave him a short blow, so fortunate decision on that one. I almost screwed it up.
How big was this, especially you're starting a 5-game road trip to the East, to get this one and kind of get back on the winning track?
Yeah, we haven't had some results, recently, but we thought we played well. I thought we played well in Calgary, lost. Thought we played well in Edmonton, lost. Had a bad first period in Seattle, and then played pretty well, lost. So, and then just, we talked about Pittsburgh. So all of a sudden you're going, oh, we're not getting any points. But we thought we were playing pretty good, with the exception of the Pittsburgh game. So, we didn't overreact. The players just gathered themselves, and probably were a little bit tired coming back from that road trip. I think if I look at it now in retrospect. But, having said all that, in the end, the points are what you need. Points are important. I mean, you don't get much for second place, but it did feel like we were still playing good hockey, and the points should come if you play like that.
And especially at this point of the season, it's kind of the dog days, right? I mean, you're halfway through, and the playoffs are still 3 months away, and it's going to be a couple weeks before you get a break.
Yeah, you can look at that. We hope with our team, we feel like we can't treat it like the dog days, even though they might be. We're challenging our team. They've got a special bond. We're challenging them to this year play through that. Because we think if we can do that, it's an advantage, because it is a really tough part of the schedule. But when you watch the game tonight, that's top 2 or 3 games that we've had all season. As far as hockey game, it's a hard fought game. It's a playoff style game. Great opponent.
And then you may be getting a reinforcement here in the next while.
We hope so. Yeah, we hope so. It looks like it. It looks like it's going to be. Well, who knows? I don't have a date, but it's not going to be too long.
And how much? I hate to hog this, but how much of an impact will he have when he gets back?
He'll have an immediate impact. Just coming back into the group, he's a really popular, energetic player. It will take him some time, so we're accepting that. But it's likely going to take him some time to get back up to speed. And when I say time, weeks. You know what I mean? But that doesn't mean that he can't help us in the short term, and in maybe a lesser role, and that we can build him back up as quick as we can.
Coach, when you look at
optimistic he can play on this trip.
I am optimistic by nature. That doesn't tell you much.
I don't think I
Yeah, that's right. Well, no, I think you might have took that the wrong way. I just mean I would never say.
And so the Kings have one more home game against the Florida Panthers before they go out on another long road trip. They're going to be in a 5-game road trip, and it starts with the Blue Jackets in Columbus, Ohio.
All right. Thank you, Tim. So that's our show. So tune in next week for more discussions about the news from Santa Clarita. You can listen to us on the radio at KQRU 107.9 FM at 9 on Saturday mornings. You can also watch us on YouTube and Instagram and listen to us on SantaClaritaStar.com, wherever you listen to podcasts. So leave us a comment and be sure to subscribe to Santa Clarita Weekly online. Thanks for listening. Have a great week.
Thank you for listening to Santa Clarita Weekly. You can watch the show on Santa Clarita Star's YouTube channel and Facebook page, as well as listen in on the radio at KQRU 107.9. Visit SantaClaritaStar.com for more content and tune in right here to KQRU 107.9. A new voice for Santa Clarita.